All right, we're on here now. I don't see anyone on yet. Why is this so quiet?
Says there's
Interesting.
says there's 10 here already, Kev.
There's that delay. Oh, there's 12 people here. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're going.
We're not all alone.
All right, guys. How is everyone doing tonight? It's the. I thought we were for a second. Like, this is odd. Anyway, how's everyone doing tonight? It's myself, Kevin, Skitter Kev, and I got Andrew Easton. We're here talking about or we will be talking about the new processors coming down the line, and whatever other questions you guys got, and wherever that leads us. So that's what we're going to talk about.
We're wide open tonight. There's we've almost got all the modeling done on the processors now, Kevin. They're looking really good. Like they're gonna be a good machine. I'm pretty impressed with them, and Gage and the design team at Bell's has been doing a really good job on them there, and getting everything together. Hopefully welding some steel together early next week is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, and that is exciting. Whenever you can start putting stuff together like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really looking forward to it. Especially, it's been one of those projects that we've been working on it for about 2.5, 3 months now, trying to get everything organized and figure out all the fine details of it. And we're trying to. It's pretty good because we're going through all the kind of nitpicky little things that people like or don't like about processors, and trying to manipulate the machine to appease everybody and have it so it works really well and still be simple. Like not have a complex machine at the end of it. Have something that's really simple and really rugged to run and work well for people. So
yeah, and that's good. You're taking our input as operators and kind of taking stuff away or adding stuff that guys want, right?
well, yeah, and ultimately that's what we have to like. We have to build processors and splitters for you guys. If I can build them for myself all day, but that doesn't help your operation at all. It's got to be something that's going to work for you guys and perform for you and last. So
Yeah, for sure. And we'll get into some more of those things. You've listened to us about that when we start showing that drawing. We've got some drawings here. We've got I did some YouTube how-tos. And I figured out how to get some stuff up here so you guys can actually see it really good without holding a cell phone to a camera. So I don't know if you want to get into this right away, 24 people, or you want to wait a little bit or whatever. That's up to you.
it doesn't matter to me. I'll show you what you got and what I've got anyways, and I'll show you how the processor's actually working or coming together.
And I'm going to give videos by Al, Flippin' Fishin', Mark, Bob, Jeffrey. Hi, guys. Here's Jeffrey. Not out swimming, or not out swimming, not out fishing. He actually got in time to catch the live stream. And Patty says hello as well.
Well, Jeff, you tell Patty I said hi. It's great to have you out here, anyways.
Dirty South.
Well, that's
good afternoon. Yeah, good evening. Actually, basically 8 o'clock. So get these hellos in. So, let's. It's just.
You want to back up?
Lost it. Yeah, put her back up. We'll put this up. So here's some 3D imaging.
This is something that this is how we actually put together the process. This is how we model it. We can do this all on the computer before we even build the machine. We can build it virtually and make sure all of the components and everything are gonna work together and everything be copacetic. You can see that's what the machine's gonna look like when it's all done. That's gonna be a 60C, and the 48C is gonna be very similar and same as the 22 MB. It's gonna be very close to that. It's like I said, I'm really excited for this. This is going to be a really nice setup. It's going to be really good. The way that it's built, the way that it's designed, I think it's going to perform and outperform just about anything else that's on the market right now. So we're really looking forward to bringing it to market and getting people's feedback on it anyways. You can see that the splitter beam is essentially our 2228 splitter, and then we've added a few other features to it. Like this is going to be the drop table for you. You need to run it in the down position or the up position. It has live log repositioning on it, so if you have a piece of wood go in there and for some reason it's not straight in there, you can spin these rollers or spin the knot to the top. This whole side of the splitter will actually retract out of the way. So if you have an offcut or an ugly piece of wood that you don't necessarily want to run through the processor, or you want to set aside, that will move out of the way, so you can cut the wood and then it roll out of the splitter and not need to bypass through the splitter, not need to go through the splitter. It'll completely bypass it then. There's going to be a hydraulic log stop on it, which is great. You don't find a better setup than this. This is really consistent. The wood hits it. It's the right length every time. There's no plus minus there. We're going to have the conveyors be able to swivel about 30 degrees either way. We might need to notch the cab a little bit. You can see in this corner, we're still working on that. And then we have a few other details to iron out in it tomorrow. Me and Gage are going to go at that and hopefully get most of the modeling done, most of the other components into the machine and onto the machine where we have to have them, and get it set up like that. So
this, so he's showing, if guys are looking at this picture, right where the where he's talking about the conveyor. So if anybody's been watching my videos, you see how we it's a radial conveyor. So we'll make, three separate piles with that. That's what he's trying to set up with this. So it will hold the conveyor and then make it easy for that swinging it around. So you can sit in one spot longer to, like you can process like a full day and probably half, maybe. All depends on the size of the wood, but which is more convenient for sure.
Yeah, you would really only have the one setup time for the day, and you might be able to get even more out of that depending on how long of the conveyor you have, or kind of how you're set up. The other nice thing too, this is just kind of a mock-up of a cab. That's another project we got to get done tomorrow, the next day. It should be fairly simple for us because it's going to be essentially the same cab as what's on the machine. Biggest thing is that the width of it here. I think the width of the cabs right now is around 34 inches or so, and this one's going to be 48. So it's going to be actually 14 inches wider than what they currently are. So a bigger guy won't have any issues fitting in it. The other nice thing too is the seat will actually swivel on the inside here, so you can either look out the front right at your saw, or you can turn and swivel and look at your splitter too, and the joystick will be right in the seat, so you're able to do that and do it easily. So,
which is, it's all operator comfort, which you're working on, plus convenience if you have to, ease of use if you got to reach in the spinning chamber or knock a piece down for some reason with the picaroon.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it, and we're hoping we're gonna have we're hoping we're gonna have these rollers set up well enough that it should almost eliminate reaching out the window. Like there's the LLR that's on the machines right now, the live log repositioning works really, really well, and I suspect this to work really well too. And this is going to be standard equipment on all of the machines. They all have this, and then you're not having to reach out that window and reposition something. Or if you have a knot, you can turn it towards the top, and you just have a lot more control of the wood from inside the cab, and it's all on the joystick. I wish I would have got a picture of the joystick. I would have been able to show it to you. But there's just two toggles on the front of it. It's going to be a really slick, really smooth running outfit. So,
and that's what we're looking forward to. I can't wait to run this. And the other sawdust management, which guys have talked about and we've talked about on here. You've done that on this machine as well.
Yeah.
Change that a
bit. that's kind of the other big thing here is the sawdust. So you can see that there's not really any chance of the sawdust bypassing that chute, and it should direct it down into one area. Like a lot of these machines that you see will have the sawdust chute attached right to the saw. So as it moves up and down, the sawdust pile moves up and down. It's like a fan, right? So it's blowing it kind of all over the place. We're going to try and get that. So you can put an IBC tote or a box or something underneath it to catch the sawdust and do it that way. There's a handful of other things on this machine too that you can't see and you won't be able to see until it's actually running. The cylinder that runs the saw up and down actually has a cushion on both sides of it. So when it comes down, it'll go through its cut and then it'll slow down. And then on the same thing going back up, when it goes back, it'll go up really quick. But the last inch or two of travel is going to be soft, and it should take a lot of the shake out of the process. It should almost eliminate any of the shake, because you get that really big chunk of mass flailing up and down. It does make an awful pile of shake. And the other thing that's nice with this too is if you look at a lot of the other machines on the market, that saw will actually come way up past center here, and that really affects how much movement's in the machine. Where we have this where it's a very linear, straight up and down motion on it. So that should help out an awful lot. And then with some of the technology we're putting on, we've got a sensor on the arm too to know where it is through its stroke. Again, just for that cushion there, and add some redundancy there to make sure that it's always going to run perfectly smooth.
Yeah, and as well, anybody new here watching this, there's going to be new power plants on these machines. You'll be running the Kubota diesels on them now too.
Yeah, it is a really, really nice setup. We got one in early last week. I'll see if I can get this turned around here. But it's going to be a fully enclosed system. This is going to be a lot nicer for us. It's going to be easier to service and work on, but for us on our end of it, this is going to be a huge difference for us. Like, it's literally going to be a drop-on unit where you can just pick the whole engine up and take it off. It's not as critical for the customer on that end of it, but it's going to save an awful lot of time in the shop and assembly. So,
and for ease, I find getting cat parts such a pain in the butt, because you actually got to go to a cat dealer, and ours is not so much local compared to our Kubota dealers, which, everyone's usually got a Kubota dealer close to them.
That's exactly it. Like, it doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna have a Kubota dealer around, and typically most people will have will have a relationship with their Kubota dealer already, whether they have skid steers, excavators, lawn tractors, compact tractors. There's the Kubota dealer in most in most towns and most areas is kind of a pillar in the community. So that's kind of why we went with the Kubota. We've had a handful of issues with the service and structuring stuff in it. Kubota has really hit it right out of the park with this engine force and this power unit. So we're really pleased with how it's turned out.
Yeah, I think it would be a good move going that way anyway. And my buddy Stevie, he got a brand new Kubota tractor. Not new to him, sorry, Kubota tractor.
Well, that's awesome. I really love my Kubota tractor. I've got an L6060, one of the bigger ones, and it works really, really well. I've been really impressed with it so far.
So I've noticed Eastmaid has cornered the market with a number of YouTube channels that have firewood splitters.
Yeah, we've
market.
We've been trying to get, well, and that being said, a lot of the guys at YouTube are customers. We haven't. There's an awful lot of guys on YouTube that aren't sponsored by us, that don't have, that we didn't actually give equipment to. They bought equipment and are just leaving their general feedback on it, and it's been really good. Like, the customers have been really liking their machines. There's obviously a handful of guys that we work directly with to ensure they have splitters and marketing stuff. But For the most part, a lot of the guys on YouTube actually have purchased machines.
Yep. I mean, we had no when with bells. It was just us. I was showing the machine how it ran day in and day out, right?
Oh yeah, you're a perfect example of it, Kev. You really are. Somebody that just wants to show equipment working, right?
Yep, exactly. How did you change the design to keep it from rocking?
The cylinder that's inside or that operates the. Let me see if I can get this turned around here. The arc that the saw moves through is a big one. I guess see a lot of the machines on the market that actually go up past center. So as that goes up, it's actually swinging the machine. Where this is more of a straight up and down motion, and then the cylinder here itself actually has a cushion on the way down and on the way back up. So when the last inch or two of its stroke either way, it will actually slow itself down gradually. The other thing that we have going on with it too, if I can show it, right there's actually a sensor on the arm to tell so the valve knows when to close and when to slow down that cylinder too. So it's there's just a lot of really cool, neat little features like that are gonna really set this machine apart in the industry. It's going to be a couple of steps ahead of everybody, and I'm pretty confident that it's going to be a really good piece of equipment here. So,
and that's what you got to be steps ahead of them, like just like in your wood splitters.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and this is essentially what we're trying to do here. There's if you look at most of the machines on the market right now, they're machines that have been built the exact same way for years, and that was the same way the splitters were. There were so many companies where guys weren't willing to change or didn't want to change or didn't want to update equipment. Where we're kind of coming into this, or I'm coming into this, and we're going to build equipment. We're not building a piece of scrap here. We're building a machine.
Yeah, exactly. And the original, like the 4000 Cs, however you want to call them, 4000. It was no slouch either. They were good machines, and they still are.
Oh yeah, they performed really well. Like they're the top of they're the top of that class, and all I'm trying to do is put a big enough gap between us and the next guy that there's not going to be any there's not going to be any competition in it. Even price point on these things are going to be very competitive to what's out there on the market. So we're really excited about it.
The Forest Passage. I have on order at 12:22 and asked if I could get it in.
If you could get it in.
I'm not quite sure.
I'm not quite sure there either, fella.
Here's the rest of his question. Solid blue, but was told no. Is that still true?
No. In terms of that, we paint every machine the exact same. And the reason for that is branding. We want to. It's sort of like a John Deere tractor. You see a John Deere tractor. You see a tractor that's green with yellow wheels on it. It's a John Deere. You can look at it from a mile away and know that that's a John Deere tractor. So we're going to paint all of our equipment the exact same color. I've had lots of people ask to do custom colors and stuff like that. I honestly don't have any interest in it at all, guys. For me, that's the orange and blue is estimate, and that's how we're gonna do it. Just and again down the road, even in 5, 10, 15 years from now, when you go to resell that machine or you want to get rid of it or whatever, people are gonna be able to recognize that just by the color of it.
Yeah, for sure, and I understand it. We've Pete's talked the same
We've
way
been back and forth with it ourselves, eh, Kev?
Oh yeah. It's not me. Hey, we already have, blue and orange. We're just putting them together now. So
that's exactly. I'll just have to fill the yard up with enough blue and orange equipment that it doesn't matter.
That's right. And it's still like, the bell's blue and there's got a Kubota and there's orange, it all works out.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Could you discuss the pros and cons of the blade versus chain on a wood processor and maintenance on the blade? How much would it cost to replace the blade, and how much time sharpening one? Thanks.
Well, and that in that respect, there's the chain the blades, they're about the same speed when they're sharp, except in larger wood. Like if you like the bar saws that we're building with the power that we're going to put to them, they will cut at the same speed as a circular saw. In wood that's 12, 14 inches, it'll be just as quick. The issue where you run into with a chainsaw is once you hit, it's a chainsaw. Once you hit any dirt, debris, sand, ice, anything, it's going to go all on you, and you're not going to have near the performance. Some guys are going to get a day or two out of it that are going to work really good before having to change a chain or sharpen a chain. And then the next day, you might get 5 minutes. If you're in a dirty load of wood, you're going to be sharpening an awful pile of chains. And then the circular blade, there's really not a whole lot of maintenance. I've heard a guy. Do you guys sharpen your teeth at all, Kev? I've heard of people doing that, but I've never done it myself. So
we have never sharpened ours. You can. Phil's Firewood, they got a sharpener for theirs and did it. We kind of just, you start noticing them getting a little bit dull, but we change them as, you really get a broken tip or a carbide come off to just change out the whole insert. A whole insert and tip is, I think, around $11 Canadian, I think.
Yeah, and I'd say there's probably, is there 35 of them in a blade, Kev? Maybe would there be that many?
33 to 35, I think. I want to say 33.
So like you're looking at like $400 to put all new teeth in it. And like you would never do that. Like you might do like one or two every periodically. Like this is the same. Like the blades that are run in the firewood process are the same as what are run on slashers, like big Pro Pack slashers and big log cutting machines like that. And we had them growing up. I don't ever remember changing a tooth unless there was like one or two instances where a guy hit the grapple with the blade, like the grapple of the log truck with the blade. But like never, hardly ever run into it. So
it's, I've cut nails, screws. Usually it just goes whip them right through them. That's not a problem. You may chip a corner, but just a little tiny chip. We keep on going with it. I have hit a gate hanger vertically, and that ruined every single tooth and insert. They were all garbage.
We had a guy hit a piston one time, like a piston out of an engine. That's probably one of the strangest I've seen.
Yeah, it's the worst sound in the world hitting that. I have a picture. It'd take me a bit to find it, but yeah, it's the worst sound in the world hitting that, and you're going so fast you can't stop in time. The damage is done.
Oh, that's exactly it. And like in terms of, and at the end of the day, the terms of cost and productivity, you're going to pay more money for a circular saw machine, but you're going to get a lot more out of it. And there's some guys that will argue tooth and nail with you. That's just a cold hard truth, honestly, guys. That's we build them both. We build them both ways, and I enjoy running both of them. But the circular saw is the far superior product. That's the way to buy a processor if you're at that level where you need that. That's the way to go.
Yeah, like we owned a 3000 bar saw. That was our first unit we bought, and we got into dirty wood. It was our own wood. We knew it was dirty, and what a pain always sharpening. It was just 2 times we put 300 hours on it, and we ended up trading it in on the 4000.
And that's typically what you'll find is guys will run a bar saw machine for maybe a year or two. But if they're planning on staying in this business, they'll normally upgrade to a circular saw at some point or another. Like if you're on that scale, you almost have to have it.
Yeah, and I highly recommend going circular as well. It's quicker, less maintenance, so it ends up being quicker in the long run.
Big time. You're not dealing with bar oil or nothing like that. Like, there's no bar oil all over nothing. You don't need to worry about bars having burrs on them or chains being tight or nothing like that. It just goes up and down all day, and it doesn't really care for nothing. So
Yeah, for sure. Um, where are we here? Stevie, he wanted to know, is the feed deck hydraulic fold up or is it pinned on deck? It hydraulically folds up.
it lifts hydraulically.
Yeah,
We haven't
which
got
is
we haven't
actually
got the
really
cylinder
handy
in there, but
setup.
you can see the actual mount for the cylinder. We have a little bit more modeling to do on that to get it all figured out. There's a handful of little things we still have to tidy up on the machine to get it into production. We're hoping to have a lot of it done tomorrow. Me and Gage, Gage is doing most of it. I'm just there for moral support. Eh? I'm a mechanic, not an engineer. I can get by with the modeling stuff, but I'm not near the caliber of Gage or John. Both those guys are incredible at what they do. I'm pretty lucky to have such a talented group of people at my disposal. It's really great. So
Yeah, those are good, Jeremy. And I haven't talked to Gage at all, but Jeremy's been great getting back to me.
Jeremy's fantastic.
Yeah,
He's second to none. And all the guys at Bell's needs to meet her like that. They're both really great to get along with. So
I'm gonna go back to this. Jeffrey's question about the saw blade, the circular saws. Um, if you end up having a problem, it gets out of balance, gets warped, you can get them hammered. Uh, so that you have to hold off and ship it out. But you can get them hammered. There's a guy not far from us in Ontario near Ayr who does that, and that's where we get all our parts as well. And new saw blade, I want to say it was around $3,000.
yeah, you'd be right around there, $3,000, 3,500. That's Canadian dollars too, guys. That's
Yeah,
not American, so you're a little bit less than that if you're in the States.
and that'd be for the 48 48. This is a 48.
Yeah. Yeah, for
I think the other one was
40,
a 40.
48, you'd be in around there, and then the 60, you're going to be a little bit more, but not too much.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. If you are in Ontario and want to know where that place is to get all those parts, you can send me an email. I'll pass that on, the name or the website. I don't have it right on me now. Where are we here? Salvage Firewood and Processing Sales. Good evening, Kevin and Andrew. Well, good evening. Glad you got here.
Well, thanks for coming out, Brad. It's great to have you.
Yeah, here's this is kind of the same thing. You guys switching from Honda to Briggs just for the ease of getting them, and
Yeah, that's exactly it. We gotta keep rolling, right? So
yeah. Brian, good evening, Kevin and Andrew. I currently have a Bell 4000 along with a 32-foot conveyor. Will my Bell's conveyor line up with the new 60C and swivel with the new processor?
I haven't looked at that, Brian. In terms of that, if it doesn't, we'll be able to make it. I'm sure we're gonna have lots of guys who are gonna want to upgrade, in the coming months and years, sort of thing. And I'm sure we can make that accommodate. There may be a little bit of fabrication modification on the other end of it, but I'm pretty confident we could do that.
Yeah, and because it will be a pintle hookup now instead of a 2-inch ball or 2 5/16, I think.
Let me see
So
if we
that
can
would
get
have
into
to
that.
be modified as well, which is just cutting the old one off and welding the new one on. You can get those at trailer store.
Yeah, and like even put a pinhole ring right on it. Either way, like we've done this just for it's going to be a lot easier to line it up, and you can see it's wide open in here. So when you go to line up your conveyor and hook it up as a package, it should be really easy to do rather than climbing under the machine. The other reason we've done this is because it keeps the pivot really close to your actual entry plate on the machine, so it doesn't swing through a great big arc. Like if you have the pivot way down here, this top piece moves a lot, so it's a lot harder to actually get it consistently in the same spot in the machine. Where the way this is set up, it should be very, very simple, very, very easy to do.
It probably allows that twisting that up and down a little bit more, that flexing compared
It
to
does,
the
yeah.
as well. Yeah, for sure. I agree that that's the way to go that way. 249 saw that 37D is a rocket with that new cylinder time. Is this still in the testing phase? Was wondering if that could be an option on the 2228 if you do end up using it. Thanks.
We likely won't be using that pump on the 2220. You'd have to go to the 37D to do it. It could have worked on the 2220. Yeah, it could, but we want to kind of save that exclusively for that 37D. And it works awesome. Like I have a good friend of mine up in Ardoch that's running. Lonnie Watkins is running up in Ardoch, and he's been pounding the wood through it here the last couple of weeks, and I think he was eight phase cord the other day is what he was able to do in an hour. He said it's hard to get enough wood block to keep it busy long enough. So, which is good.
How's that attached conveyor coming along too with these?
We've got it together. I have Justin Vance got a bunch of wood blocked up for me this week. I was hoping to run it this weekend, but I'm gonna be working on this. The little bit that we have run, it works really, really, really well. It functions good. It moves wood well. It's going to be something that's going to be really, really interesting to see working too. So,
yeah, that'll be interesting to see that all done. And I love this 37D. Where's Cotton Top? I thought he was buying one of these 37Ds.
I don't know where Tim is. I don't know if he's called yet or not. I have no idea. I don't know. I haven't. I've been at Bell's for the last couple of weeks. I kind of come out and give everybody a high five at Eastimate and go in and we're trying to get this project off the ground. The guys at Eastimate are great. They're just a fantastic, amazing bunch of human beings to be able to run with very minimal supervision and keep the ball rolling. So.
Canadian Woodworks. This is actually Pete's brother. He owns the Canadian Woodworks company. He does some awesome. Yeah, he does some awesome. He's got a good YouTube channel and he does some awesome woodworking. He was wondering if
that's pretty cool.
Pete's Liquid Lumber. That's his name for his maple syrup that he sells.
No, I have not.
So
I have not.
We'll get that all. Pete will. Hopefully he's watching this and he'll get some set aside for you and we can get that up to you at some point. But yeah, if you're looking for any custom furniture built, this is a guy to check out. Him and Legacy Lumber is his two companies. This question isn't finished. Called Jeremy to order his 22 MB processor, but he was not in. I'm not quite sure.
No, normally Friday afternoons, the Bell's is closed at around noon. There's not too many folks around there after lunchtime on a Friday.
Yeah, so maybe.
But I will make sure that Jeremy's on it first thing Monday morning for you, Ricky. It was a great talking to the other night. Ricky Heron has quite a bit of Eastimate stuff down in Georgia right now, not too far outside of Atlanta, and he's just a fantastic guy to visit with. You can sit there and talk to him all night. He's just a joy and a pleasure to talk to.
What's he's got a couple splitters on?
Yeah, he's got a 1222 and then he's got a SS 524. He's got a skid steer splitter too.
Yeah, nice. I've never run a skid steer splitter yet. It'd be interesting to try out.
Oh, we might need to get one down to you so you can give it a whirl. It's one of those things that, like myself, I didn't really see much of a point in it for a long time. I was like, why would you ever want that? But when you get those big rounds, I'll tell you, it makes life so much simpler to bust them down into something you can actually handle, and then you can move wood with them too. Like if you can pick up a whole log and just pinch the log and bring it over and block it up, and they're actually an incredibly handy attachment. If you're doing firewood and you have a skid steer, they're well worth the investment.
Yeah, for sure. J Debin K98. I'm from Michigan, and COVID has prevented me from visiting Canada. I've missed the accents of the good folks across the border. I'm enjoying the show, fellas. Well, thanks for
Right
stopping
on. That's
by.
perfect. Really appreciate the support.
Saw Surgeon Ted. Howdy, Kevin and Andrew. How long before Eastern Made opens a facility in Michigan so I can work for you, Andrew?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure, Dad. I'm gonna have to see if Joe has any room in his garage for me there. I'm not quite sure.
Joseph, look at that awesome picture of the best processor. I'm working to purchase one hopefully soon.
They're gonna be an awesome machine. Like I am they're gonna be the top of the industry, and it's gonna take a lot to surpass them. I know that for sure. And I know what else is being built out there right now, and that machine there is gonna be of a different caliber for sure.
Yeah, I believe so from what I can see now. So exciting to see what it can do. Especially like it's totally designed. That whole splitting chamber is going to be totally different, which is a good change.
Yeah, like
Will help for
even the
sure.
wedges, even the wedges come in and out, Kev. Like they're gonna be the same as Easton made wedges, where once you lower the wedge down to change a wedge out of one of these machines, you're literally gonna be seconds to do it. And in a situation where you can sort your wood a little bit more that way too, and pick the right wedge. And it's funny because some guys will do that, and then some guys won't. But um, if you have a couple of loads of stuff that's say like 10 inch and a bunch of stuff that's 16, then you can make really nice consistent firewood with the different wedges and save a lot of slivers and scrap and mess. And
Yeah, that's kind of why we got away from the 12 way. It just like changing it on the old unit. We could do it fairly quick, but it was just more of a pain for how many we got. But if you can change a wedge in seconds, it's a little bit different ball game then, right?
that's exactly it. Like the older machines with the Allen screws and stuff on the bottom, they're not a real nice thing to work with. Where this here is going to be it's going to be quick and easy, and it's gonna be pretty much the only machine that's set up like that in the market. There's a handful of other machines on the market that have a similar style of wedge. The nice thing about this is that it actually let's see what I'm gonna do here. Is that it actually what have I got here? It actually locks in. So it's the same boomerang as what we run on our splitters. So like when you're pushing wood through the splitter, it's not going to be lifting up. It's going to stay in one spot. A lot of companies will have just a finger or something left on the bottom of the wedge. So as you run wood through them, the wedge will keep wanting to lift and lift and lift, where this is going to stay in one spot for you. And that's crucial when you're running in wood. If you have a log that's however big, the whole length of it, you don't want that wedge to keep moving up. You want to keep it in one spot and just go to work.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is going to be good too. Like a nice change. Like I'm used to the other way, right? You got to crawl underneath and undo the 3 bolts and the set screw, which isn't a huge deal. But like I said, if you can do it quicker, then maybe it is worth going back and getting a 12 way. But Andrew, are you attending the Midwest Firewood Frenzy? I think that's what it's called at Wolfridge.
No, I won't be going out to that. Right now, as it stands, Canadians, if we go in the States, we have to come back and quarantine in a government hotel for however long, and then you're 2 weeks, and I don't think it's worth going out right now. I'd love to be able to make it out there and see all those guys. Chris from Wolfridge is a super nice guy, and Bob Nelson. Like there's just a really good group of guys up in that part of the country, and it's going to be unfortunate to miss it, but at this point, I just don't think it's feasible for us to do it. So,
yeah, because the Richmond show, that's next weekend.
Yeah, it might. I think it might be next weekend. I think it's May 2-4 weekend. It's still going on down in Richmond. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was made 2.4, but I could be wrong on that. And Joseph's planning on working for you, and Ted's gonna hang out and wait till you get that facility going down there.
Well, you tell Joe I'm coming. It's gonna be Andrew's premium firewood videos.
Cliff Blick, soon to be an Axis owner here, getting pretty deep in rounds these days. Looking forward to getting it. Have a good evening.
You're gonna love that Axis, Cliff. Everybody that's got one has been thoroughly impressed with them. They run. They're a really consistent machine to run. They're a really easy machine to run. They're a nice setup.
Has with the setups, is the Bell shop, or the new, it'll be your new shop, is it all set up now, ready to start rolling with everybody moving over yet?
No, we're hoping. It keeps getting pushed. We're about the end of July right now. The last confirmation we got from the paint company was the middle of July for all of our paint equipment. So next month we're gonna have an awful lot going on between new machines going out, equipment coming in. We've got our laser cutter coming. We have an 8 kilowatt laser cutter coming in, which is a big, like a big laser. It'll like, for example, if we're going to cut something like a hydraulic tank, we can cut it about 150, 200 inches a minute. The laser will cut it at 2,000 inches a minute. So there's going to be production going to increase pretty drastic here. So
Do you cut everything on that laser then?
yeah, pretty well everything in, and then like right now we plasma cut everything, which is a good process. It works well. It's, for the most part, it's cost effective in smaller batches, but you get a lot more precision with the laser. Like the holes cut, the edge cut, like everything is just really precise, and really everything fits together really nice. So it should really help us out in the shop anyways. So
Yeah, I bet that's a lot speedier for sure. Especially now, because that will feed both. You'll be using that for the splitters and the processors, right? So it's doing double duty.
that's exactly it. Like with a plasma cutter, you have to change tips and nozzles and stuff. It's the same as any other plasma cutter. And when we figured out what it would cost to run both the plasma tables, we'd make the payment on the laser almost. And then with the laser, you have a lot better performance and precision and stuff. And it's a lot like the circular saw bar saw thing. Like the cost of operating a plasma cutter is around $55 or $60 an hour, where a laser is $7. So
Wow.
there's a real substantial difference, and then the performance is way higher. So
Yeah, well, that's crazy. That's a big price difference on that.
yeah, it is big time.
Ricky, he's going to call first thing Monday morning. Skid steer splitter's back saver. Oh, for sure, especially doing those big rounds. I've seen guys even use them to load their actual like Eastermaids. They'll use that to put the big rounds on.
Oh, you could 100%. Yeah. Like they there's a lot of different uses for them other than just splitting wood. You can even pick, like, if I have one around the shop, I'll use it for grapple. I'll use it to pick up logs and move them to the splitter, and they just work really nice for that.
I think in the one video you did do that. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, I think I had some of that great big oak. Between the 524 skid steer splitter and then the piece of oak, the JCB didn't want much more than that. I'll tell you. It was pretty heavy.
Except for the Ultra, why do the push points on the splitters not exceed all the way to the splitting wedge?
Oh, almost all of them do. Like all of ours do. They're all within a quarter of an inch and around there, quarter 3/8. Especially with a box, but you have to it has to come up tight on a box, but you have to be able to shear that top block off there and able to pull it back. I don't know why other companies do it. I know in Europe to get a CE certification, it has to come, I think it was 3 inches from the wedge to the pusher, which I don't. I guess for if your hands in there, but I don't see why. Your only hope is if you're running the wood splitter without a block of wood, and because if you're gonna take your fingers off, it's because you have them on the front of the block, right? So it completely defeats the purpose of it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's I'm sure it's some guy sitting somewhere in his office that's never thought of nothing, or I don't know.
Yeah, he must have watched GP Outdoors video this morning because he was actually talking about that.
Yeah. I seen that on Gorge. Like, what'll happen on the Ultras sometimes is there's a block in there to hold the wedge. So when you push up, it'll get packed full of debris. Sometimes you have to clean it out, and that's what happened with Gord. He just got a stick down in there, so it would stay back like an inch. And if you're doing that stringy elm like Gord was doing this morning, it's that stuff will hold together really, really tight. You got to get it. You got to get a clean cut all the way through it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That element's not fun. Ted had to run. See you later. We'll talk to you. Be talking to him soon.
Well, thanks for coming out, Ted.
Joseph, I'm still thinking about the 37D. Andrew, thank you for talking with me the other day, sir.
No worries at all, Joseph.
Jeffrey, question on the 2228. The aluminum table is bent a little due to human error. What's the best way to straighten it out to make the table removable again without damaging it?
I don't know, honestly, Jeff. Normally we can get them back out of it. If you can get them back out, I would think a bumper jack might be able to get it so it twists back up. And then we've done it before where if you think about it, the splitter is actually hydraulic press, right? So you put a couple blocks up against your wedge and then up against your catch pan, and you can straighten it out pretty good. You obviously got to be careful and be conscious of what you're doing with it, but you can straighten one out with the splitter quite easily if you think about how to do it. So
do that carefully. Don't get your fingers in there either, Jeffrey.
Don't get your fingers in there.
Yeah. Iron and Oak Sawmill. Andrew, the 1222 arrived last Sunday. It outperforms our expectations. Well worth the wait. Big thank you to you and the crew at Eastermead. Your products are.
Well, I'm really glad it finally showed up. I'm really excited for that. I've been waiting for you to get it for quite a while here. I've been talking back and forth on YouTube for it seems like a year or two now. So I'm really excited that it finally showed up and that it's a machine you thought it was going to be. So.
Yeah, somebody was posting pictures. I don't know if it was him or not. Your truck going down the highway, and then it was in somebody's yard. Full of splitters.
It's kind of neat. We get a handful of those messages every once in a while. You'll see it in the middle of the interstate somewhere, like far away, with a load of splitters on it. So it's kind of neat to see that.
GP Outdoors thinks he needs his spinach.
You might have needed some spinach, but I don't know. Yeah, you and Bob were doing a great job today. Bob's garden looked fantastic. I'm just getting ready to till mine here. I think next weekend I'm gonna get tilled and get it in. So
yeah, we finally got some good weather for that. That's for sure. Hey Kevin. Yep.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Hey Kevin Andrew, what's the advantage of having the cab near the saw? Thanks, Tony. Newington Stone and Garden.
I don't know where else you'd really put it, honestly, Tony. It's kind of got to be, your cab's got to be close enough to your splitter that you can actually access it too. That's kind of the other part of it. With the way that this is set up and designed, this new machine with the live log repositioning, you shouldn't need to reach out the cab very often, if at all. But typically, if you have a block of wood go sideways, you have to be able to reposition or work with it anyways. So
I don't feel scared or intimidated being that close to the saw. You can't really reach it. Like if you tried to, I don't think you could even reach it. So it's, it's not getting hurt that way. And like you said, you got to be able to reposition a log, so you got to be somewhat close there. If not, it just wouldn't make sense. With the
Yeah,
new
and
machine, it probably not going to matter with those rollers or repositioners.
yeah, and the like the front window in the cab here, it's actually a fixed window. Like this window here is fixed. So there's the way this machine set up. I don't know if you'd even be able to reach the saw. Like typically what you would do if you had to reposition something is reach into the splitter with a pick or room. But like I said, with those rollers in there, I don't think you'd ever. It would be an odd instance where you'd ever have to do it. And that catch pan actually moves too, so you'd be able to roll a block with that pretty easily too. So,
Yeah.
but in terms of where else to put the cab, I don't think there's really anywhere else you could actually put the cab. So,
And you're probably best where you are. I'd rather be there than on the other side of the machine with it, coming down towards you.
yeah.
Hey, I think this question's being brought up this week. I can't remember her name or the company. They're out east, and they had a saw break and come off. They broke the arbor or broke the shaft on the pump, and the blade came flying off. Luckily, no one was hurt in it, but I'm sorry. They're probably watching. I can't remember the name for the life of me, but
I've heard of that in a handful of instances. I don't know if we've ever had it happen on one of our machines. I have heard of it happening on like big slashers and stuff like that, and like if it's over here, like that thing's gonna be taken off this direction if it makes it outside of a. Well, I don't think that piece of steel would stop it, mind you, but
no, it in hers, or when they showed the picture, it was like cut into that guard a little bit, which I'm guessing slowed some momentum of it down, and it went forward into like a barn wall, so just a tin outside, and it was stopped there. It didn't go through it, so it slowed down enough.
well, that's good because it would wreak havoc. It would
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a pretty sight, and it's just one of those things that I don't think there's any way you could possibly guard it or prevent it. Biggest thing would be preventive maintenance. Like if it were a shaft that were right on. I don't know how many hours we're on it, but if it were a shaft that were right on the or a blade that was right on the shaft of the motor, if you run a dirty hydraulic oil or something and a bearing went out of it, maybe that would cause it to do it. But
they thought, because they run their bigger wood through that machine, it was a multi-tech machine. Doesn't matter, but they were hitting.
Yeah,
they thought a log caught it, was hitting it, like the bigger logs coming through, catching the blade. But it wasn't for sure. But
yeah, even that, I would think that would be kind of tricky. Like I don't know how we've got this one set up. It's another one of those projects we kind of got to do. But typically, what we would do is have a little bit of a chamfer on the edge of it, so that I don't think it would matter one way or the other, honestly, whether it was there or not. But kind of act more like a wedge.
Yeah, and that's one thing for guys running saws, but they should all know. Or if you're new to it and you're going to order one, I always wait if the boss is driving back and forth with the skid steer. That I never cut when he's going in front of it or behind it, cleaning up. Never. I wait till he goes by. It's you don't want anything coming off, a tip coming off, nothing. So
even with the chainsaws, like chain shot, like you don't want to be anywhere in line with that thing or anywhere near it. I wouldn't like chain shots are very 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 dangerous. And well, just like a tip comes off one of those bar saws, it's just like a bullet.
Yeah, I've seen them like in cut to length processors come off in the cab window. And those are, I don't know, at least 1 inch, if not thicker, polycarbonate.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's where that came from. But what do we got here? Oh, this is for the pictures of the machine going down the highway. That was us. We did a video of the splitter arriving. we have it in a YouTube video. I'll have to check that out.
I'm gonna check it out. I'll check it out tomorrow morning when I'm having my coffee. I'll go by and take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll have to remember to check that out. That was a pretty cool video though, coming down the highway.
I'm surprised I never got the notification for it. I must have the bell clicked. I'm pretty confident I subscribed to Iron Oak. I don't know why I never got a notification for it.
Yeah. And if you guys want to know how you get notified, when you go to the top of the screen, there'll be a little red bell there. You click that, and whenever we post like a live feed like this, you'll be notified of it. Garney, have you ever thought about using a processor to block, bypass a splitting chamber, elevate out, and then precise split with a hand splitter? Benefits, I think, would be more precise, clean chunks. I think 37D.
Well, that's actually the way that you could easily do it on this one. That whole log cradle there will actually move out of the way. Let's see if I can show it here. So there's a cylinder that attaches from here to here, and that whole log cradle will swing out of the way. So if you want to bypass the splitter, you can literally bypass it, roll it out onto the ground or into a conveyor. So with this machine here, you'd easily be able to do that. There'd be no issue with it at all. And that was kind of what we were thinking with it. If you got into if you were into some really, really big oversized stuff, or if you were into uglier stuff, you'd be able to bypass the splitter than have more precision over it. Was kind of the thought process on that. Some guys will want it that way, and then some guys will obviously just shove it through and not care what the product looks like at the end of it. But for guys doing high end firewood, that'll be a huge advantage to them to be able to do that.
Easy way for you guys to get wood for your testing out your splitters too.
The thoughts crossed my mind.
There it is.
I don't know how many more chainsaw videos you'll see me in.
Maybe that's why you did make it.
I don't know.
Will the processor have rollers to adjust the piece cut? Yes, this one standard.
I'll show you here. Yeah. So there's the rollers right there, Joseph. There's a roller there and a roller there. So when the block lands in there, if it's crooked, it'll roll the block to whichever position you want it to be in. So it'll be that'll be huge. It's going to save a lot of reaching out a window and a lot of time spent screwing around it. We have the LLRs on the processors right now, and they work really, really well. Not every machine gets them, but it's going to be a standard thing on all of the processors that we're building.
Which I think is a huge advantage, especially not having them, being like, yeah, that's going to help.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's going to make a big difference. And like the other nice thing about it too is like with that table, like you can choose to, if you have something dirty, you can either choose to leave it up or if you're into really clean stuff, you leave it down. So it's, compared to a lot of machines, that's one less step you have to take there in the process every time. You can literally just leave it down and just keep rolling wood into it, or if it's something that you want to, that last block or whatever, you can catch it too, right? So
yeah, for sure. Which again is the big, because it looks like you've changed the splitting wedge as well, or the pushing ram, splitting ram.
Yeah, we've changed it a little bit. So it will be completely covered. And then it's literally it's almost the exact same push as what's on our 2228 or on our splitters right now. There's this little higher notch in here, and then there's a notch at the corner. You can see the saw. Without the notch at the corner, it's pretty close to it, so we had to do that today. And then that's actually the same cylinder that's on that 37D that we have running. So that's the same cylinder that the 37D has, except obviously in this application, it's going to have substantially more flow. So it should really move and be really big high pressure stuff. So.
Garney, this is with the saws coming off. Seen it happen on a big concrete roadway saw. It was something to see. Luckily, I found a fresh dirt pile. That is lucky. I've heard some stories about these coming off like the circular saws or the buck saws,
Hmm.
and things like getting pretty crazy going through the bush with them.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had one come off, or locally here, we had one come off about a year ago on a fella, and Jamie said it went for an awful trip through the woods.
You know, oh, I bet. Iron and Oak, he put that video up this morning, so I'll have to go check that out.
Well, I'm gonna go check it out for sure.
Billy, what's happening, guys? Sorry I'm late. Well, you can see what we got going on here. We're showing the new unit and some of the changes that Easton Made has made to them. This is the 60C we're looking at.
Yeah, and
And
this will be
the
very
40 is
similar
gonna,
to.
yeah.
It's going to be almost identical, and even the 22 MBs are going to be very, very similar. What we're planning on doing is we're going to try and keep that exact same chassis for every single machine. Obviously, the 48C and the 22 MB are going to be a little bit lighter than the 60C. Like the tubing will be smaller and stuff, but we're going to try and keep that all pretty much standard and the same. So the other nice thing too, Kev, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but we did have an option for a long live deck at one point. They had an option for like 10-foot live deck arms, and that's what's on them. That's what's going to come on all of them. You're going to have another 2 feet on the live deck,
Okay.
which is really neat too.
That doesn't affect the height of the machine at all, like when it's transport?
No, we've got her figured out pretty good there. They'll swing back up over top of it, and then they're still going to sit below the saw. So.
Oh, okay. That's plenty of room.
Yeah.
It's no like on ours with that attached conveyor folded up. That's your highest point anyway.
Yeah.
But that will be handy having that bigger live deck. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that's pretty well what we've tried to do. We've tried to go through every. Like if an option was useful, it's just standard equipment, or if it's something that worked really well, like it's just going to be standard equipment now, and then all the little nitpicky things like the sawdust chute and like a handful of the other things. Like we're just trying to go through and make sure everything is right. Like I said before, we're just trying to get these machines to a point where they are absolutely the best without question.
Yeah, this as well. I'm sure some stuff's not put on here for the log stop on the live deck.
Mm-hmm.
The little star rollers. It's going to have that like the 4000s did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that is something that's super handy on it.
Yeah, they will have them. That again, one of those things that just worked. Yeah. It works really well, right? So. Yeah.
Jeffrey, what would the cycle time on that machine? And is it the same RAM as a 2228? I think you just.
It's actually a smaller cylinder, but more tonnage. There's big pressure going into it. There's going to be about 5,000 psi system pressure on these processors, so they're going to be running really, really high pressure. The cycle time is probably going to be around 4 seconds. We could get more than that out of it, I think. Like we could probably get it down to 3 seconds. But the goal here is to make a machine that's incredibly smooth, incredibly consistent. We found whenever you start speeding things up, we can make these things as fast as we want. Really, like it really doesn't matter. You just put the horsepower and the flow to it. But there gets to be a point where it's just not beneficial. So I think 4 seconds is kind of where you're going to see this machine cycle, and is what my end goal is, anyways. So.
I agree 100% on that. You start going too fast with stuff, and everything's, banging and smashing, and
yeah.
I think I missed this question earlier. I don't know if Chad asked it, but how much has steel pricing and availability affected your business?
Availability, not too bad. We've got pretty good suppliers, and we're we're fortunate enough that now we're a big enough player in it that they cater to us. Our suppliers are really good to us. That being said, the steel prices are kicking the crap out of us. Like they've almost tripled in a year. And obviously on a machine like that, there's a lot of steel in it. So it has the pricing has affected us quite a bit on that end of it. I'd imagine you'll likely see it's level out here in the next 3 or 4 months. But I'm hoping it comes down a little bit, especially for us. Like it's kind of hard for me to call a guy up that ordered a machine a year ago and tell him the price of the machine went up 15% because of steel, right? So.
Yep. Tough time right now with everything.
Yeah.
Prices are skyrocketing on everything.
Yeah, so we more or less have to like keep the prices where they are on the splitters, and I think you'll see us likely adjust the prices once we get caught up. We're hoping by this time next year that we're going to have a more reasonable build schedule where we're hopefully 3 or 4 months. So.
Nice. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
Lucky Monkey, greetings from Northwest Pennsylvania. Great job, Kevin and Andrew. Well, thanks.
Well, thanks for showing up. We really appreciate you coming out.
Beauty state there too. I've driven through there. I got friends in Brookville, Pennsylvania, Clarion, Pennsylvania, and it is beautiful driving down there. It's just rows. You're just driving through woods, basically. It's awesome.
Yeah. We always enjoy it. I think that's probably the thing we miss the most is going to the shows. You get to see a lot of really nice country, especially once you start delivering splitters. You get to see some pretty cool spots that you wouldn't normally ever see. So.
Yeah, and this is Jet. So he was ahead when you were kind of answering a question when he asked that first one. But that's all right, Jeff. The Driftless Homestead. Sorry, late to the conversation. I have a question for you, Andrew. I ordered a 1222 with a 6-way and a box wedge. Would you suggest adding a tall 4-way?
Really depends on what kind of wood you get into. If you get into a lot of really ugly, nasty stuff, then I would go with the 4-way wedge over a 6-way, honestly. But if you're into more or less clean stuff, then you're not going to have there's not going to be a huge difference in that respect. You can lower the 6-way down for the handful of dirty ones you may get and cycle a little back through. But if you're consistently into really hard, tough to split stuff, then the 4-way would be the better option.
Yeah, and that tall 4-way, that's a pretty handy deal.
It really is. Like, if you're into some really stringy stuff, there's a lot of places that get sycamore and gum and places like that and species like that are just really hard to split, where that tall 4-way is really nice for that kind of stuff.
Carol Projects, greetings, Kevin, Andrew, and I'll go through all her questions right now. I live at a residence and I don't have a forklift or anything similar. Need to unload the splitter. What should I do in preparation for delivery? I ordered a 1222.
Typically what we would do is if you would have a Drew's, well, that being said, Drew might be able to unload it. He's bought a step deck for us. So Drew has a step deck and he's bought a long set of ramps for it. And he's hoping he can offload a lot of them himself. I don't know how that's going to work yet because we're not doing it yet. Typically what we would do in a situation like that is drop it off at a local lumberyard, tractor dealership, somewhere that has equipment to do that. And most times, if you go and ask them, most of the times they're really, really good. Like those guys that are in that business are local fellows that they're normally more than willing to help out. So that's where we would normally suggest you look them, then you can tow it home from there.
Yeah, I never really even thought about that, going to a local lumber store now. That makes total sense.
Oh, absolutely. And that works really well. And even with the processor, we ship a lot of the processors on trucks now that we do. We're shipping almost everything like without without us doing it. And like a lot of tractor dealerships will have like a dry dock, so like a processor or whatever, you literally back the truck up to it, hook on the processor, and drive off with it, right? So that works really well. But again, Drew's getting his trailer and everything all set up for us to be able to be able to do that. He's really good to work with. He's a super nice man, and he's a professional. Like, he knows how to get the job done and do it safely and do it effectively. It's really nice to be able to have him as a part of our team. So
yeah, that's awesome that he's getting that trailer to accommodate you too. That's wicked.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question, Carol. Now you got to hunt down your dealership. Andrew, I want that 37D cycle time. Or this is 249 saw. I was absolutely blown away watching it run on your YouTube video. I will be switching my 2228 order to a 37D Monday. Thanks for your guys' time tonight.
I think you'll really like that 37D, and now that 37D, it's actually running a 600 RPM lower than what than what we would normally run them with that particular pump combination that we have on them. It runs like whisper quiet, like not whisper quiet, but it's a nice, quiet, smooth running. It's impressive to see. It really is one of those 37Ds.
Chase, is Drew the truck driver that delivers your machines?
Yeah, he does most of them for us. There's probably still 20% of them that we need to ship on different trucks, just depending on whereabouts they are. For the most part, we can normally get Drew to go on a loop around for us pretty easily. So as long as we have all the machines going the same generator, there obviously is a handful of situations where if you have a load going to Pennsylvania, there's a guy in California waiting on a machine, we'll normally try to accommodate the guy in California and send him on a different truck. But he does most of them for us.
This is about the steel prices. At the same time, you can only eat the price increase in raw materials for so long before passing it along to the customer.
No, that is true. The big thing with it is you really got to have some foresight when you're structuring your business, coming up with pricing and stuff like that. Like we're like our pricing on our splitters is pretty competitive. It's very similar to everybody else's. But the big thing with that is I find a lot of people that get into business and do business, they don't think of the unforeseens like that, or they don't think about what happens if something goes wrong on the service end of it. Like a lot of the times, like if something goes wrong with a splitter or a processor, and even if the guy can get a picture of it, like it almost like for me, most time it's no questions asked. We'll just send it out. Like we want to make sure you're going, and you have to make sure that you have enough meat on the bone to be able to provide that level of services. That's what people are buying along with the machine. So with the price increase, like it's lowered our profit margins a wee bit, but it's still sustainable. So.
Garney, yep, this new administration sure has some great ideas for the manufacturing transportation sector. Maybe you should start building sawmills.
I don't. If I knew anything about sawmills, I might do that, but I'm not going to get into a ring and box if I don't know how to do it. So.
And sawmills, if you're thinking about buying a wood miser, you're a year out. They're delivering March 2022 now.
Is that right? That's awesome for them. That's really exciting.
Yeah, they are swamped. And same with parts, blades. They're way behind and all that stuff too. It's craziness.
Yeah, and
Here,
I don't know what it is either. Like we're telling guys December of 2022 for a splitter right now, and yeah. By all rights it should be into January. We're just hoping we can gain enough here that we can shorten that quite a bit. Like on our end of it, we just need more room, and I think the big part of it is administration. Like it's so hard to do anything, like to add on to a building, to like we just wanted to put a driveway and like another entrance. We're at a dead end street in town, and there was quite a bit of paper to go through for. Like the guys at township were really good to make sure they got us all fixed up and going, but it should just, you should be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like it. And I ran into that at home here. I was going to add on to the shop, and well, that was last April, and the severance for the property still isn't done. Like they just finished it up. It's just tidying up now, and we have some lawyer paperwork to do just for the severance, and then it would have to go to zoning and everything beyond that. So, and for me, I don't want to talk bad about. And it seems to be like that everywhere, though. Like, there's no need for something so simple to take such a long time to do. Like, if the municipalities and stuff are that far behind, and then obviously they need more help to get that to a point so that people can go to work and continue on with their lives. So,
yeah. Where were we? Yeah, Iron Oak Drew delivered their machine. He was awesome.
He's a super nice guy. He really is. He's easy to get along with, easy to talk to, and he knows the stuff. He knows what he's doing. He knows the equipment well now. So
yeah, and it's good always having the same guy. He knows the equipment. He can strap it down quick. He knows how it's knows how to get you guys to load it. Everything becomes a lot quicker and smoother, right?
it really does, and he's always been really good to communicate with customers too, and that's a big thing for us, is to make sure the customers know what's going on, and he's really good for that. So
Joseph, is there any machines in Arkansas? Just asking.
processors or splitters? There's going to be both. Like we have quite a few machines, like splitters in Arkansas, and I don't know about processors, what's available there.
This is a rat. He needs to know where his competition is. That's what he's asking.
there's quite a few splitters in Arkansas, but I'd imagine everybody's there for the same goal, anyways. Okay, a little competition is always good. It keeps you pushing forward.
That's right. I agree with that. Brian, when do you expect to have a video of the new processor running wood? And what's the lead time for delivery of your processor if I order today?
If you ordered a processor today, it's probably going to be in around the end of August or September for a processor. You will likely have a video of that running. I would think the second week in June is when we'll likely have it up. We should have most of this machine built. I would say the week of the 23rd, we should have most of it built. They're coming to run the hydraulics and get all that stuff set up the week of the 30th. So by the end of the week of the 30th, we should have it running, and I don't foresee too many issues with it. Like years ago, I would have told you we'd be getting the torches out to get everything else apart, but we've got pretty proficient at building and designing machines that we can foresee most any major issue before it even gets out to the floor now. So
I'm surprised you can't run some 3D logs through that thing. Really test it out.
Yeah, if we want to get down the nitty gritty, I'm sure we probably could.
Now that would be awesome if you could do that.
That would be pretty cool.
There you go. Wood miser blades, 10-week delay on them.
Wow, that's wild, eh?
And Al knows because he just ordered some. So he is waiting. So yeah, it's crazy getting stuff. In the wood yard. Hello, Andrew and Kev. That's a nice looking machine there. I like the colors too. That's right, I do. The orange is growing on me. I like it.
The orange and blue is pretty sharp. Like it's going to turn out really good, and it's great to hear from you, Chris. I'm glad you got out to visit with Tony there the other day, and Tony, I've talked to him quite a few times too. He's a super nice man. So I'm glad you were able to meet up there.
Here's Jeff. Tell him, Chris, that's his new machine. It's got his name written all over it.
Well, we got to make sure it matches his tractor he's going to get.
Wow, he's going to have to open up that checkbook. Tractor, processor. Might as well get a dump truck for deliveries.
What's going on?
Garney 37D using the same Galtech valve block as a 2228. There's this 37D pump still secret.
Yeah, it's the same valve block as the 2228. I'm not saying nothing about the pump on it. That's going to be a heavily guarded trade secret. I've opened my mouth and told people how we do things before, and that one there, I'm going to keep it near and dear to me. So
I don't think there's not much you don't hide. Like that's. I think this is the first.
I honestly try. I honestly try not to. With this here, we'll probably let you know what's going on with it here in the next couple of weeks once we know what's happening. But it's kind of a strange industry because we all and everybody does it. We all look at other people's ideas and we pick the good and the bad out of them and try and get the best of everything. But I know. If I would have just called those Easton-made valves, they'd still be an Easton-made valve. You know what I mean? So, but it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the entertainment. So,
yeah,
orange is a good color.
Yeah, it is. I think
it is a good color. I really like my orange tractor. I've had good luck with it. I don't know. That being said, we've talked about the tractors. Me and Kev, and they have their spots. So
yeah, I'll get this one in because he's only going to be here for a minute. My buddy Nuts 319 stopped in for a quick minute, sewed on the water, and you should see the pickerel his girlfriend caught today. I don't know if he's still here, but it had to have been 31 plus inches. It was massive.
Wow, great big one.
Yeah, out on. I'm guessing he went out of Erie.
Yeah.
Or Erie, PA, on Erie. But yeah, I'm supposed to go fishing with him, but I can't cross the border. It kind of sucks. Maybe I can meet him in the middle of Erie, just cut right across.
Yeah, that's exactly. I wouldn't be doing it in a 14-foot aluminum. I know that for sure.
There you go.
32 and 12 pounds. That's a big fish.
Oh yeah. Is that what you're having
that's
for
a big
dinner
walleye
tonight? Still out. Wow, they've been out on the water a long time. Good job, Nutsy. Tell her good job, and I'm coming down for those sausage and biscuits. Or sausage gravy and biscuits, for sure. Hi, guys. In my opinion, the product gets you customers. The service keeps your customers. Got my 1222 on order. Can't wait. So we question, do the splitters have hour meters? Thank you.
No, they don't. The splitters don't have hour meters on them. They don't come on the engine. So the reason we don't put an hour meter on them is because it's so easy to disconnect one. Like an aftermarket one is very easy to get. Local hardware store, they're very inexpensive, very easy to install. We don't do it just because if a guy ends up unplugging it when he first gets the machine, and then 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, there's a Easton-made with 50 hours on it that's all beat to hell. That's I don't think that would be a good thing.
No, which I agree. Like you said, you can probably buy them, order them off Amazon.
Really, yeah, they're very inexpensive.
Yeah, at least you know yourself what the numbers are.
Yeah, and like for a lot of guys like that, like that would be the big thing, and then just being able to keep track of service intervals, right? So, but on our end of it, I don't think I have any interest in doing it. So,
yeah. Oh, here we go. Lucky Monkey. My brother builds locomotives for General Electric in Erie, Pennsylvania. He was laid off. Momo used to open a manufacturing plant in Pennsylvania. He watched your shop and loved it.
I'm not quite sure if we'll end up ever expanding or going different places. I don't know. it's hard to say what the future holds right now. It's kind of I'm in a pretty fortunate position where the world's kind of my oyster right now. There's not a whole lot that if I didn't want to do it, I couldn't do it. So I just got to see which way I want to go about it.
Yeah, it's that's all. I guess I shouldn't get into that a little bit, but I guess it's easier just having your own manufacturing, right? You know, keep it in one spot right now, but you never know where that goes, right? Um, Another question. I don't know if you want to get into it tonight about the disc cleaners. What's your thought on getting into the disc cleaners tonight?
Oh yeah, we can do the disc cleaners. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
because they're going to be changing a bit too, I guess.
Yeah, they will be. We've got Mel's finishing up the design on one right now. It's got a 10-degree rake on it. We were originally going to do the disc screeners in 8s and 16s. We're going to do them in 10s and 12s now. So anybody that has an 8-foot disc screener on order, it's going to end up being 10 feet. We figured it'd be a lot easier to clean out from underneath it and give you guys a little better value on the other end of it. And we're really excited to try the little bit of an incline. It's just enough of an incline to keep the wood on the disc screener a little bit longer is what we're hoping for. So it has a little more time to clean the wood rather than it just running off the end of it. So
yeah, that's what's been different. So when you're dumping in, it will actually help. It should almost go. The small stuff should go back a bit, right?
That's exactly it. And then we had a couple of customers, or a couple of guys in the last live stream had mentioned about the bars across the bottom of it. We've cut them out so it's open on the bottom of it with smaller fork pockets on it to help that out. We just try to listen to the guys that have experience with them and have done a lot of it to make sure that we're going in the right direction with it. So
yeah, I do see that going. You know, that putting that 10 degree you said, right?
Yeah,
I can see that helping that disc screener out for sure, or disc cleaner.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big difference, and I'm looking forward to trying one. We should have that should be kind of a next week job too. I think is when it's slated to get done. So
yeah, well that's good. I'm looking forward to seeing that up on the screen once you get that all put together.
Yeah.
Will that be done the same way like this, or just in the other?
Almost everything we do is done like this. Like if we build something, it's modeled like this to make sure. It just helps you check interference and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not 100% foolproof, but you can prototype stuff and change stuff way quicker doing this. Like instead of getting a set of torches and a zip cut, you can change stuff in literally seconds on here, especially a person that's competent in modeling this stuff. It's very quick and easy to do.
Yeah, for sure. Has you got my cup holder made bigger so my Magellan fits in there?
I'll have to see. I'll have to get Gage on that. I don't know if he's watched or not, but if you are, Gage, you got to make Kevin's cup holder bigger.
And it's got to have my Bluetooth radio. I need my Bluetooth.
Yeah, we will have a radio in it. Yeah. The radio and lights are all coming standard on them. So
that's right too. Lights. Where were we? In the woodyard. This is a great question. How do you keep the people calm about the build wait times on the splitters?
We get the odd person kind of excited about it, but I think I don't think it's anything uncommon right now. Like you said with Wood Miser, and like I think Chris is backed up quite a ways right now too. So it just kind of is what it is, and like when Chris had got his splitter, he was we were really late on Chris's splitter when he got it. Jerry actually, Chris would have got his when Jerry first started. He would have ordered it when Jerry first started taking over sales, and he double booked like 2 months on us. So we were so far back, and then COVID hit. So like we were so far out on like right now, we're pretty close to our build date. Like if somebody like whatever's on the schedule right now, we're within a couple of days what we would have told a guy 8, 9, 10 months ago on his build, and we're hopefully gonna gain on that quite a bit, that we can get ahead of guys pretty quickly. And I think helping people understanding what's going on with the business here is helping a lot. That we're trying our best to expand and doing as much as we can to bring those lead times down for folks too. So
yeah, and that's like you said, once you get that shop up and going, that lead time should really start coming back on that.
yeah, we're hoping we're going to be able to triple or quadruple production on the splitters, and double it on the processors. So hopefully we're going to be able to do that. We have hopefully run an afternoon shift come September, so we'll effectively double there, let alone being in town. We should be able to hit we're able to build about 10 machines a week right now. We're hoping to build about 35 or 40 come October, so in a week.
Wow, that's putting out a lot of machines.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're hoping to be able to do that and do it consistently. So
yeah, that will really get you caught up. Iron Oak, any plans? Midwest 40 firewood frenzy. You answered that earlier.
yeah, no, I don't plan on going out to it. It's just so hard to get across the border right now, coming back and forth. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if we're going to be doing any of the trade shows this year or not, honestly. Most of them have been canceled. I'd really like to get, like I was telling the other guys, I'd really like to be able to get out there. Like Chris is a hell of a great guy, and Bob Nelson and Josh Rice and the Maltec guys. They're all just a really good group of guys out in that part of the country, and it's going to be too bad that I'm going to have to miss it, but it is what it is right now. So
yeah, it's our hands are tied on what we can do, right?
yeah.
Corey, he wants to be your tester for the pizza wood splitter.
We're hopefully going to have something. I was hoping to have it done a year ago. Just haven't got the time. Like I said, we've got a lot of resources now. A lot of good people to help out, and a lot of talented people to help put that together. So I'm hoping that within the next probably 5 or 6 months, we'll be able to have that machine in production. So
now that would just be a splitter, not on a processor.
yeah, that would just be a splitter. Yeah, fully automatic splitter, and I think you'll likely see us work on a fully automatic processor in the near future too. So
nice. In the wood yard, how many more people will you hire?
Probably 20 or 30.
Wow, that's
I would think in that neighborhood. We've hired probably 6 or 7 people in the last couple of months, and then I would think you probably being around there all said and done. So right now with both places, we're right around 50 employees, so we'll probably around 80 or 90, I would think.
Wow, I didn't realize there's that many guys around there.
There's a lot going. There's a lot of different moving parts there.
Here's a good question. Andrew, ever think of building a 3-point splitter like the old country builds?
I don't think so. It's really hard to be competitive in that market, because it's going to be hard to have the features and have the machine perform the way that you want it to with a 3-point hitch. And there's just a lot of really good options. I think most guys that would be buying a 3-point hitch splitter are buying one to save cost. And there's lots of guys, there's lots of companies out there that are building them inexpensively, that are good machines that I don't think I could get into that market and deliver what I would consider a great product. So
yeah, that will be tough because you can only control the speed of it with you don't have any pumps on it. You're all running off the tractor, so it's it can be slow because you don't have enough speed from the tractor, right?
That's exactly it. And then it's like I said, I think a lot of guys that are doing stuff like that that are buying machines like that are cost conscious, and I don't think I could do it and be competitive at it. That being said, you get in a place like Europe, and a lot of Europe has really good PTO splitters, but it's a different mentality than what we have here in North America. So
Yeah. Joseph, my main buzz is firewood bundles. I could use a pizza splitter big time. Do around 4,000 bundles a month and growing. That's a lot of bundles.
all right, on, that's awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, like it seems like the market's out there for it. Dave Boyd, it's a friend of mine. He does Norwood sawmill, records videos for Norwood sawmills, and is I guess.
I know exactly who Dave Boyd is. He saw
runs a
Mill and
firewood
whatnot.
show.
Dave, yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's great to see Dave. I haven't talked to Dave in a while. He's another one of those guys you can just sit down and visit with, and he's just such a pleasure and a joy to be around. And it's great to see you, Dave.
Yeah, I had a great conversation with him. I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. Great guy to talk to, and I didn't realize he was running the firewood shootout down in Ohio.
Yeah, that's
looking forward to seeing
that's how I know Dave is from the firewood shootout, and the guys at Sawmill and Woodlot do such a great job of it, and they're just a great bunch of guys, like great group of people to be around. And Dave, like I said, he's one of those guys that you could sit down and talk to and have a great conversation with. He's just great to talk to and great to deal with.
Yeah, he is. I don't think Sawmill and Woodlot magazine, I believe, is no more now too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if you can fill that in. I know there were some health issues there, so
I'm not quite sure what was going on there.
Yeah.
I advertise every month with him. I don't know if we still have it or not. I don't look at that end of the business very much anymore, the billing end of it. So I'm would be unfamiliar with it. So
yeah, he'll probably respond here. So if I lived up there, I'd be beating down the door to work at Easton Aid.
Well, that's a pretty good spot. We've got a pretty good crew of guys here that they're really easy to get along with. I'm pretty fortunate to have the help that I've got, and it's the people that make the place, right? Like both at Easton Aid and the guys at the other shop at Bell's, they're just all incredible people. They're great guys to get along with. So
yeah, and I can agree with that. They are great to deal with.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, so no details on it. So yeah, too bad. But I'm sure we'll be still be in touch, Dave.
Yeah, hopefully. And the Sawmill and Woodlot guys are a really nice bunch of guys too. They were probably up there with my top of the print guys, anyways. So
Garney, he was correct PTO splitter, not that 3-point hitch stuff.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you could bring that to the North American market and be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. There's a lot of people told me I wouldn't be able to sell the wood splitter themselves, and they always seem to be pretty proficient at it. So there could be a market for it. I don't know if I'm willing to be the guy to explore it first or put my head in the guillotine first. And it wouldn't be a big job to do one, honestly. It'd be pretty simple. PTO pump and set it up that way, but it shouldn't. I just don't think I'm going to venture that way right now. So
yeah. Have you ever done any of your splitters with electric?
No, I haven't. No. I've had a lot of guys ask for it, but I've never had anyone pull the trigger on it. And I don't really know why, because it would be a really viable way of doing it if you had the power to do it. You just bring the wood into a building or close to a building, and you'd be able to split wood. It'd be nice and quiet. There'd be no maintenance on and that. Like I know the guys that have bought electric processors love them.
Yeah, I bet. We talked about this. I think it was in the last one we did, and just how quiet it would be. All you'd have is a saw.
That's exactly it. Yeah, like it's a weird, like when you're so used to the machine being so big and noisy, and then see it not make a noise. Like it's the weirdest thing to watch. It'd be something you get used to, but it's just really bizarre when you're used to the machine being so loud, and then all of a sudden it's whisper quiet.
Yeah, that's videos by Al. He's got electric sawmill. His wood miser's electric. It's so quiet when he starts it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are we here? The Driftless Homestead. I have a 1222 on order and plan on attending the frenzy. Would be more than happy to represent Eastonmate at the event.
Oh, if you'd like to, I'm sure if you get a hold of Chris, he'd be more than happy to have you and show the different equipment. Like Chris Wolf's a great guy. Like honestly, he's one of the he's a class act. So he'd probably be more than happy to have you there, so people can compare anyways. So
AJK Axe Co. I like that thumbnail. It makes restores axes. It almost looks like. Hey guys, just got in. Hope you're doing well, guys. Well, we are. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by.
Really appreciate you coming by.
So Jeffrey, what's the difference in the pizza splitter and the pizza box wedge?
The pizza splitter. Well, I think what the fellow's referring to is a fully automated splitter, which we're planning on doing before too long here. Where you literally type in the screen, you say you want 3-inch wood, and it splits you at 3-inch wood. You want 2-inch wood or kindling, whatever you want, it'll split for you. And we have the general conception of how we're going to do it and achieve it, and it's going to be fairly basic and fairly simple to actually do it. It's just a matter of putting pen to paper and getting it done. So.
Jim Richards. Oh, there we go. What's the largest diameter the CS processor can do and why?
So this one here, the 60 will do around 26 inches would be the largest diameter, but because of the distance from the hub to the bottom of the blade. That being said, guys, a lot of people seem to think big wood is a way to run one of these machines. It's not. So like the distance from here to the bottom of the blade is what limits the log size. And I'm gonna try my best over the next several months once we get these machines going to hopefully educate people now. Like that machine will cut a piece of wood that size, but it doesn't matter which machine you have. You're always gonna have bigger pieces coming off it. What I'm gonna try and do is build the machines so you can easily manage the larger pieces, whether they come off or whether you bypass them. But that's kind of what we're looking at. Normally, a machine like this, I would say about 20 inches with a 16-way wedge is kind of your limit with one pass. You can do bigger than that, no problem at all. But you're going to have pieces that typically most producers will have to resplit after that. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that massive wood going on either. It's just, yeah.
And there's some companies that don't have a choice. Like if you're a tree service guy, like you have big wood. That's the nature of the beast. And like they there's companies that offer like 28-way wedges and stuff like that, and you'll see the videos and they're flogging wood through it, but it's a piece of white ash. It's a saw log that's going through it. It's not a piece of firewood. So
yeah. Brian got her new 12-way from you about a month ago and loving it. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad it's working good for you, Brian.
Is there any are all the wedges like the 12 ways and 16 way they're going to stay the same design? There's be no changes.
Yeah, very, very similar. Like the 12 ways that I built for the splitters are very, very similar to what the bells are. The biggest, what I try to focus on is having the center pieces come out the right size, like a handful sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then whatever the outside is, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, right?
Yeah.
And then the 16 way will just split those pieces down a little bit better, or a little bit further than what the 12 way will. So
Yeah. Well, is the 16 an actual wedge or?
yeah, it will be an actual wedge, like same design as what our normal wedges are, just with a couple extra wings on them. We've talked a little bit about making like a grid style wedge, but I don't know if we're going to go that way or not, and simply because like the handful of machines on the market that have the grid style wedges are still limited to 18-inch diameter wood. So in that respect, if you're putting 18-inch diameter wood through this particular machine or through one of our 12 ways, you're going to be making the same size wood anyway. So I would think it would just be more of an exercise than anything productive, honestly. So.
Yeah.
But that being said, we may do the exercise and see how it works. But for me, my perspective on is if you're going to limit the machine to 18-inch wood, then the 12 way or 16 way is going to make as fine a firewood as you're probably going to require even for the pizza market. So
Yeah. Joseph, 3-phase is the best way to go.
yeah, it would be.
It's good. It limits you though. Like if you're only doing your own stuff, if you're doing custom, obviously that's
Yeah.
not. But like you said, people are getting those and they're putting them in buildings, and and that is the way to go, I think, as well. No need to have a diesel motor.
There's lots of guys that are kind of getting out of the sawmilling business. Like Clements is a great example of it. Andrew Clement.
Yeah.
Bell's Firewood in Watertown, New York. They have the sawmill and everything. So they've got the building, they've got the big power there, and the machine doesn't move. So in a situation like that, it would be very beneficial because you wouldn't have the maintenance at the end, you wouldn't have the fuel costs. It would be a good setup in that respect.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't gone electric yet. Then, or maybe it's
me
just
too. I'm surprised too, but I don't. They've been running the kiln now for a little more than a year, so I think that'll really kind of change the structure of their business too. So that should help them out quite a bit. So
yeah. Joe's in the house. How you doing, Ohio Woodburner?
How's Dave tonight? Or how's Joe tonight? It's good to see you, Joe.
I don't know if he's been here for a while and just hanging out in the background or what.
Oh, I'm not quite sure.
Everyone, real interesting to see electric splitter. You should just build one. Someone would eventually take it.
you know what? You're right. I probably should just go ahead and do it. Build it and they will come, right? So
yeah, exactly. Garney, could you do a box wedge on a processor with a pullback?
No, I can't. The only reason for that is because the APA has a patent on it.
Yeah.
Like you will actually see that like the wedges on the processor will actually interchange with the splitter, but we won't. We will do our very best to impede a person from being able to actually do that. So.
Jesse Hodge, have the lead times on machines been reduced at all?
As of right now, no. They will be hopefully in, I would say, July, August. We're gonna be able to restructure our schedule a wee bit. Like we're telling people December of 2022 for a splitter right now. If you're ordering one right now, you're likely gonna see it quite a bit before that. But we just don't know how far. So as of right now, when somebody orders a machine, we're basing it off the schedule that we currently have and the production level that we currently have. So
Jesse Hodges. Are you? He's got to be local around here to me. I'm positive of it. The Hodges boys. We called them the Super Crew. I think it's the same guys. They did
I'm not quite
some
sure.
work. We were kind of working in the same area. Went by. They're quite the crew. If it's the same guys I'm thinking of, they're a really good cutting crew.
Oh, good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's them. I remember the last name. I don't remember the first names. Um, what else? Jeremy did get back to me on the weight of the disc screener. He says 3,000 pounds. It'll be coming in around 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's yeah. I would say probably in around there. Yeah, I thought you might be a little bit less than that. I don't know if you'd be able to move it with the case or not.
Yeah, I do. We can. Not with the 60. We'll try, but I don't think we can. Which isn't a
We've
huge,
even thought
huge
about we've even thought about putting tires and stuff on them. I just don't know if there'd be any benefit of doing that, especially being like having to adjust the legs up and like where do you put the hitch, right?
Yeah, true. I know Riley down here. His tumbler's got wheels on it. I don't. He seems to be all right with it. I haven't heard him say anything about it, but
I don't know. It may be something for us to look into in the future, but
yeah.
um,
We got Jesse. I have the wrong Hodges. He's down in New York, south of Buffalo. Okay, I have talked to him. He's come on my YouTube channel, but I couldn't remember if he's one around here or not.
south of Buffalo.
Yeah, which is actually, I remember going down to heading down to Ohio for the show, and you can see going down the interstate, you can see where guys have been logging. Always
Yeah,
looking.
yeah, you can. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you ever get going through Buffalo, or you ever get to stay there for a night, there's a place on it's got to be on the south side of Buffalo. I think it's geez, I can't think of the name of the place, but it's got Russell's Steakhouse at it. And Russell's Steakhouse has got to be the most delicious steak I have ever had in my life. Like a really good steak, and it's kind of neat. The older gentleman that owns the place actually is the hostess. So every time we've been there, he's actually been the hostess. He seats you and all that kind of stuff. It's just a really neat experience, and the food's delicious. It's great food, and I don't know if it's really I think it's that good, but normally by the time that we get there, it's about 9 o'clock at night after a week where you worked about 80 or 90 hours. So to have that big juicy steak going to the Paul Bunyan show, she's pretty tasty. So
Oh, I guess that's where you stop there on your way. You
yeah,
guys
that's
got a lot
exactly
longer
it. Well,
drive than us.
yeah, that's exactly what we'll do. We're only about 5 or 6 hours to Buffalo, but normally the time we get out of here, it'd be sometimes it's fairly late, but
Yeah.
we get out of here at 1 or 2 o'clock. You can at least sit down and have a. It is good dinner, isn't it, Mikey? It's delicious stuff.
How
So that's
long's
normally
Mike
what we would
been?
do. I don't know. He's coming in the back door now, Mikey.
Yeah. Must have got in from quadding.
Yeah, he might have. Salvador, is that yeah? Russell Salvador. I think that's it. Yeah.
I'll have to check that place out. Yeah, because how you guys come through? How do you come through then? Do you
We
come
would
through
cross
Toronto?
Alexandria Bay and go down around the lake.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
probably better.
it's
You
far.
don't want to go through Toronto.
No, it's far quicker for us. We can make Niagara Falls almost quicker going the American side than we do the Canadian side, just because of Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, I don't
It's terrible.
like if
I
we
don't.
come up and see you guys. It'd be the same. Leave first thing in the morning to try to beat the rush hour.
Yeah,
You take
and there's
the 407. They charge you an arm and a leg for that.
that's exactly it, and it's I hats off to the people that are able to do that every day. There's not enough gold in Fort Knox to make me want to live in Toronto or to do a commute like that. Yeah, I wouldn't care what they paid me.
Yeah, it's I couldn't do it. I'm the same way. You couldn't pay me enough to go to the city. we've done the odd job out that way, and it sucks.
Oh, it's just difficult, and it's there's just a lot of people. Even we've done a handful of business courses that we've done, and they were like right downtown. Like we take the GO train in from Oshawa and stay downtown. Even 7:30 in the morning, the streets are just packed. Like I don't think it's like that right now with COVID, but like wall to wall people, it's insane.
Yeah, I haven't been into the city for ages, but I'm going to hockey games, going to the Leaf game, and it's just being like you're shoulder to shoulder with people. It's like, and I was a kid at that point. It was crazy. WV Woodman, are there going to be any logging shows? Will you guys be there? If so,
there's actually Richmond, Virginia. I think next weekend there's the racetrack in Richmond. They should have a logging show there. We're not going to be at it. We don't know if we're going to be making any logging shows this year at all. Just given the situation, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing it or not. So,
see if I can look that up. Richmond, the Richmond show. Yeah, Russell
Salvador's. Yeah. Really good steak. We'll normally stay at Russell's, and then there's a hotel just right across from Russell's, and my young lad Jack, he's 6 now, but he would have been like 4 or 5 the last time we were down there, and he always really likes there's a buffalo out in front of Russell's, and he always loves seeing the buffalo. So. And it's normally right around Halloween too, and they have some really awesome Halloween decorations in there in the big aquarium. The kids just love it. So, and it's a very classy spot too. So it's good.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds like a good place to go. That's for sure.
Kevin Leclerc, how are you, buddy? It's great to see you, anyways.
Garney, is there a demand for a big 8 to 10 foot call log splitter? I think I've seen a video of one Bell's made or used to. You guys got one?
Right? Yeah. Like we do build one that will do a big log like that. Is there a big demand for it? Not really. There's a handful of guys that like them and use them. I think the reason why there hasn't been a big demand for them is they haven't been properly marketed. They are a good outfit, especially if you're somebody to run a tub grinder or a chipper. You're going to be able to take that stuff that normally wouldn't be able to go through your chipper, and even though the splitter is an expense or it's an expensive machine or an expensive splitter, it may save you from going up into the bigger chipper or tub grinder. I haven't done the costing on it yet to know for sure, but I would think that's a very big market for one of those big log splitters. So
yeah, they're a beast for sure. That's no kidding on that. Because what's the motor are you running on them?
65 horse cat, same as what's on the 4000.
Which would be, if you still built them, you'd go with the Kubota.
Yeah, that's exactly the 74 horse Kubota, and I don't know whether we're going to keep going with them or not. Biggest thing for me right now is getting the machines, even the processors ironed out, and getting everything kind of under one roof and running smoothly. And then we may end up going into exploring the super splitters more.
Yeah, which makes sense. You got to iron the ruffles out, right?
Yeah, kind of divide and conquer here. So
yeah. Buddy Al, he's got to go. See you in 2 weeks. For sure, Al. I'll be
see you later, Al.
Anyway. Jesse, he wants to buy some steak dinners if you show up.
Well, I don't know. Jerry or the G gets pretty hungry.
He's getting the what is it? The 24-ounce steak. If you can eat it all, you get it for free.
Yeah, the big one. That's always a big joke when when it was Bell's and Easton made, we'd always have a great big dinner when it was Dad's turn to buy.
That's how it goes most of the time, right? My turn to buy is it's like, hamburgers and fries. That's great.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Kevin, doing great. Almost done next winter's firewood. Well, that's pretty good. You're way ahead.
Right on. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I think that's all. We've been 2 hours right on the button. So
yeah, we're right there anyways.
No more questions? Yeah. Well, you want to wrap up this week's and well, here's Jeffrey. It's called OPM, Other People's Money.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I've never heard of that. I gotta remember that one. Jesse, I'll buy Jerry as much steak as he can eat if he puts my name in the right place on the building list. I see why he wants to buy dinner now.
We're making sense now.
All right, guys. Well, yeah. I think we're going to wrap up tonight. And we'll get to, I guess, another 2 weeks. We'll see if it works out for both of us. And that's where we'll see you again. I hope you like this new processor. Any more questions or you watch this and you got questions for it, keep them in mind. Email us or like private message us. And we can get to that on the next live stream that we do. We'll see what's going on. By that time, you'll be putting steel together for that new processor, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, we should almost have a machine to show you by that time, I would think.
Yeah, it won't be a little drawn on there. You'll actually see real steel being put together. So I'm looking forward to that, and I bet the rest of you are too. Kearney. Do you watch Letterkenny?
I've heard of Letterkenny. I haven't watched it at all.
I have watched it. How are you now? I have watched it. I haven't watched it lately, but
I have watched a lot of it. I've been told that I could probably relate pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like always, like, comment, subscribe.
Have a good night, guys. I really appreciate everybody showing up and coming out to visit with us. It means the world to us.
Yeah. Good night, guys.